learn about the world in which we live in. And learn what we are experiencing today. How come it that our today is like this? Something had to happen yesterday to make it happen. And what is today will one day become yesterday for those after us. And that's important for you and I to understand. We just cannot be people who just cool around the place. We are people with great capability. And Allah told all the prophets and the followers who follow them that the social order that the messengers brought, which is divine and lofty and sublime and embellished and enriched and most excellent, we need to understand this. If anybody follows the divine order of prophets, they cannot be hopeless people. They cannot be listless people. They cannot be people without energy and dynamism. And that's your challenge and mine. Look at yourself in life. Are you a live wire in the lives of your family? Are you a live wire in the lives of your friends? Are you a live wire in the life of society? Or are you just a number with a mouth that can speak, but have nothing that can generate action? And that's where you and I are challenged. Every father and every mother and every daughter and every son and every uncle and every aunt. So each prophet brought a divine social order. It means the people who belong to this order have to get up and get. They have to be proactive. They have to be activists. They have to be reflecting activities. Nothing is going to happen if you and I do rituals. It is not rituals that make life. It is reality that make life. It is not rituals that change a course of action. It is realistic actions that change a course of action. And if you want to know about Allah, He doesn't interfere in human life. So it is senseless just to be begging Allah and not to be setting the first example. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Whatever is you and whatever is me, God doesn't change that. God wouldn't change me if I'm stupid, if I'm listless, if I'm brainless, if I'm hypocritical, I'm saying a lot of nice things to you, but I have no commitment to it. God doesn't change that. God doesn't change uneducated people to become educated. God doesn't change the people whose track record is such they cannot influence their own friends and family. God will not change that. You and I got to dream of the change, think of the change, understand what it takes to change, and start putting the foot down to make that change. It is not God who does those things. It is humans who do that and can do that. So the messengers were told, لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّ, that this divine social order, when it is applied in society, what it will do? It will dominate, it will prevail, it will supersede, it will stand out and above all the other social orders. Why? Because all the other social orders are anti-humanity at a universal level. They are only for vested interest groups. The divine social order is for all people. There is no discrimination. There is no racism. There is no prejudice. It's all about humanity. Now you show me where you have that. You think in the Muslim world there is Islam? If in the Muslim world they had Islam, people will be so happy. If in the Muslim world they had Sharia, people will never leave those lands of Sharia and run to these lands that are called lands of kufr. But I told you already, if you open the borders and you give visas to anybody to go anywhere, these countries will sink for the amount of people from the Muslim countries that will come here. Because why? The problem exists is the problem of human rights. You don't have the divine order of Allah in the land, especially the land of Muslims. You have a lot of slogans. You have a lot of pictures on the wall. You have a lot of buildings. You have a lot of people masquerading in the name of Islam. But they're far from producing the results. And you're seeing what is happening. And they seem not to know where they're coming out. The problem is getting worse and worse. What is important to note, that when you and I decide to change our life and to work for a divine social order, it's going to make people who are mushrik. And a mushrik is not a Christian. Take that out of your mind. A mushrik is not a Christian or a Hindu. A mushrik is any human being. Nowhere in this Qur'an it confines this term to specific people that popular Muslims understand it to be. A mushrik is one who shares others in what is specific and unique to Allah. Divine guidance is specific and unique to Allah. When you share that with the prophets of Allah and with leaders of society, you have created shirk. When you compromise divine guidance, you have a certain kind of attitude when you're in the masjid, for example. Very humble, very sacred, very lowly. The heart is very succulent. But when you come on the road, man, you're like a tiger or a lion. You have lost that humility. You have lost that simplicity. You have lost that focus. And you can see the double standard by which we live. You can see the old generation going, and you can see the new one coming. And you can see where there is a divine social order in their lives. As I said to you, go to the schools sometime. Go to the colleges sometimes. Go to the university sometime. Go to the marketplace. Go to the malls. Go to the masjid. And you will see what is coming out of the average Muslim home. You have religion coming out. You have decoration coming out. You have cultural apparel coming out. But you don't have a mind grown with the Qur'an. You don't have a mind grown with the Qur'an. What kind of mind you have? Who read Qur'an in Arabic. Although they don't know A to Z of what they're reading. Because they saw their ancestors doing that. And lots of their scholars tell them to do that. That every letter you read, you get 10 blessings. So lazy man's job is easy. You don't have to think. You don't have to make changes. You don't have to do those things. So this God must be really, really cheap. And many people think God is an Arab. And I tell them, God is not an Arab. He's not English. He's not Urdu. He's not Bengali. He's not a human being. So my brothers and my sisters, the divine social order is the concern of those who exploit people. The divine social order is the concern of those who exploit people. The people in the Muslim countries, if they're to wake up and take their lives in their hands with the responsibility to come out of the political exploitation, political oppression and suppression, their leaders will be the ones who will oppose it the most. You know why? Because who gain the most are the people who exploit human beings. And let's go back to the time of Fir'aun. Fir'aun was not known to be anybody.